Hi, my name's Isaac, and this is a brand new Chevy Silverado ZR2. And today, I'm gonna review it for you guys. Can you imagine if I was just like, and today, I'm not gonna review it for you guys. I'm just gonna go home. The weird things that go through my head. Hey, cut me some slack here. This was a very spur of the moment review, and I didn't have time to pre-plan any cutaway jokes. Before we begin, I'd like to thank Outen Chevrolet of Hamburg for allowing me to borrow this vehicle to review. For all your Chevrolet needs in the Hamburg, Pennsylvania area, I'll leave a link to their website in the description below. Starting out up front on the ZR2, when it comes to aggressive looks, this truck came to play. This has to be the sharpest version of the Silverado that's available on the market right now from the factory. I think this is an incredibly sleek looking truck from every angle, and it really stands out in a crowd, even comparing, in my personal opinion, to the TRX and the Raptor in styling appearance. I think they really did a good job to make this look aggressive, bulky, but still maintain that Silverado exterior design language. Speaking of exterior design language, right here you'll have full LED headlights, and it's kind of cool. They extend out in this little tiny bar right here into the grille that's only available in the ZR2, and that helps it to stand out even more than, you know, like all of the rest of this. Like if you weren't sure if it was a ZR2, you could look at the grille and go, oh, yep, ZR2. And then moving a little bit further into the grille, you'll get a ZR2 badge right here. And then your Chevy emblem is actually hollow. It's a pass-through to allow air to get through a little bit easier. This Chevy emblem actually reminds me of the TRX, which is in the same off-road category as this truck. It also has a hollowed out front-end grille emblem. And then below that, you will have a camera for the 360-degree camera system this is equipped with. And there's also a little washer right there, which I think is cool because obviously this truck is very off-road focused. So if this camera gets muddy and you need to check your front approach angle, you can clean that off. And then down here, you'll have red tow hooks and a ginormous skid plate down here. You're definitely gonna be able to tackle some tough off-roading with this truck. Moving underneath the hood in this ZR2, it's powered by GM's 6.2-liter L87 V8, making 420 horsepower, 460 pound-feet of torque, and it's paired to a 10-speed automatic transmission. For the ZR2, this is the only available engine. Moving to the profile of the ZR2, starting down here with the wheels and tires, you'll get 275 70R Goodyear Wrangler Territory MTs around these 18-inch wheels. And moving a little bit further than that, you'll have a black plastic fender flare that extends there. Then you'll have your ZR2 badge and your 6.2-liter badge right there. And then the center portion of the hood is blacked out. There are some other elements that we'll talk about on the exterior that are also blacked out to kind of give it contrast. Like this mirror cap right here. This is gloss black down here in black plastic. Then you'll have an LED light built into the mirror, one of the other cameras located there, and you'll have blind spot monitoring, and of course the mirrors are power. And then down here you will have blacked out door handles and keyless entry. That part is silver though. And then if we move down here, you do have tube steps or running boards, whatever you would prefer to call them. They come on this particular ZR2. And then this does have a massive suspension upgrade, obviously being the off-road focus. It has DSSV shocks. It has a 2-inch lift. If that wasn't clear already, giving it a much more aggressive stance. You have front and rear lockers with full locking potential. I mean, really a ton of off-road prowess on this truck. Unfortunately though, usually I don't get to take these crazy off-road. I just get to tell you about the features. Moving to the back here, that black contrasting continues down here to the bumper. You have parking sensors on the bumper, and then you'll have your tow hitch right there. And then slightly above, Silverado, and then ZR2, and then Chevrolet is stamped into the tailgate. And then moving right here, you have a little puddle light. So if you're dropping the tailgate at night, that'll illuminate what's below it. And then you have a camera right here as well. It would be weird if you didn't have a backup camera. You had all these other cameras, but you didn't have a backup. That would be strange. And then right here, tap this button. It is a dampened tailgate, so it lowers very slowly, which is nice. It's also very light. I'm gonna take my pinky And I mean, okay, it didn't close all the way, but you get the point. I could lift it with my pinky. Moving into the bed here, you have a spray-in bed liner. You'll get LED lights, tie downs, and then there is also an AC 120 volt household outlet back here. Very useful. This truck isn't just off-road focused, it's also very practical. And then you have your ZR2 logo stamped into the bed there. And then I can jump up into the bed. I do wish there was an easier way to get up into the bed, because that is a pretty high leap. Some GMCs and Silverados offer like a handlebar that opens up and comes out, and then also you do have the optional fold down tailgate, though this ZR2 does not have that, unfortunately. The reason I hopped up here is because I didn't just want to show you that I had mad hops. I wanted to show you that there is a camera built right here into the third brake light. We're going to touch upon that a little bit later. Before we move to the interior, I wanted to talk about the key very quickly. You'll have lock, unlock, remote start on it, and then you also have the ability to drop the tailgate from here. Very useful feature, though unfortunately the tailgate does not go back up from the key fob. Moving to the interior of this ZR2, Chevy has stepped up the interior quality exponentially on these Silverados. I've mentioned this before, but I absolutely love what they've done with this. One of my favorite things, which I fully understand is kind of tacky and a gimmick, but I love it, is the startup screen on the gauge cluster into the infotainment system. Let me show you what I mean. So when I open the door to get in my vehicle for the first time, boom, it senses I'm here, and then it extends across both screens. It'll say Chevrolet over here, and it'll give you the Chevy logo. I mean, it's just so cool. Always brings a smile to my face that they've implemented that design. So let's turn the ZR2 on here. You can hear that wonderful exhaust note, really, really strong. I think that's cool. And then if we want to look at the gauge cluster, as I mentioned, it is fully digital, and to prove it's fully digital, I've done something that no sane human being would do. I've set both of the gauges to exclusively display the tire pressure. It's the same tire pressure, but you can do it. You can really mess with a lot of different things on here and what you want in the center of the gauges. And for some reason, Chevy gives you the option to put both of them at tire pressure. It doesn't mean your tire pressure is more accurate. You can just do it. And so that's what I've done. That always amuses me too. But really cool that you have that level of customization within the screen. And then moving to the door panel here, you have this kind of nice rubber material to rest your arm on. And then this is soft touch down here as well. Though everybody knows every truck guy is putting his arm up here. And then over here, you'll have lock, unlock, and then your memory settings for the seats, your electronic parking brake, your mirror controls. These are power folding mirrors as well. That's very nice. And then down here, you'll have your four-wheel drive settings, your trailer brake assist, and then, or sorry, that's not your trailer brake assist. That is your trailering modes, and then your trailer brake assist is down there, my mistake. And then you'll have your lighting controls right here. And then on the steering wheel, you control everything in that gauge cluster from the buttons right here, and you can scroll between them. Then you'll have Bluetooth settings, and you'll have your safety settings, your radar guided cruise control, stuff like that. And then this also does have a heated steering wheel. And speaking of the steering wheel, it's very comfortable. The leather on here is wrapped really nicely. Everything in this interior feels really well built. Previous incarnations of the Silverado that I've reviewed don't feel that way. They feel a little bit chintzier, a little bit cheaper, but Chevy has really stepped up their game, and I'm very impressed. And then turning that off, because I don't want the steering wheel to be on fire, you're going to have paddle shifters right here, which is really neat. And then you also, I think I'll have to go this way to show that, you also do have buttons for your channel changing and your volume right there. So that is really convenient. And then if we move over to this giant infotainment system, we're going to stay in demo mode. I love Chevy's infotainment system. And while the previous incarnation of the Silverado, I've said previous incarnation far more often than I ever do in my day-to-day life today. The previous iteration, I guess probably iteration is also the right word there, had a smaller screen, and it was very fast, but it definitely didn't feel like it was in the same league as the Ram or the F-150, and now finally Chevy does feel like it's in the same league. I would argue it almost outclasses it with just the premium feel and how quick it is. Now it's about the same size as the F-150 and the TRXs, but it's still lightning fast. So you'll have Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Google Maps, everything like that built in here. And then down here, you'll have some more safety settings. You can drop the tailgate from here, hazards, traction control off, hill descent control, rear locker, and front and rear locker right there. And then down here, you'll have your climate controls. You'll get heated and ventilated seats, and then the aforementioned trailer brake assist. You'll have push button start. And then down here, you will have your shifter, which is very interesting. I would prefer a traditional shifter, and this is designed to look like one, but it's a little bit different. So if I want to shift into drive, what I do is I hold this button and I shift down and put my foot on the brake, obviously. And now I'm in drive. It lights up and tells me that. Then if I want to go to neutral, I shift up, and into reverse, I shift up again. And then that's going to give us access to our 360-degree camera system. So as you can see, the guiding lines move on this. You'll have a top-down view, and because this is just awesome, you have a lot of different things. So if you want to go to a trailer cam, you can do that to line up the trailer perfectly. If you want to do a top-down bed cam, you can do that. A front view of that 360-degree, you can do that. If you want to go to that aforementioned bed camera, you can do that. That's the one I pointed out a little bit earlier. I have some boxes back there. So you can see really just, you can even zoom on it. You can zoom. So if you have stuff moving around, you just want to make sure it's okay. This truck offers that ability. I mean, just an incredible amount of different options that you have here on the truck to be able to have kind of a safe experience. You can see from those little cameras in the mirrors. I mean, the off-roading capability here is just unprecedented, and I'm just very, very impressed with that. Lastly, moving down to the shifter, I know I'm kind of all over the place here with this shifter, but I just hit park to go back to park. Little bit of a strange design because it doesn't actually shift through the gears. It just kind of moves on this little axis, and so definitely takes some time to get used to. And then down here you do have wireless charging pad, and then opening the armrest, USB-C down here. You can take this out, little light, but tons of room in there. And then you'll have very, very comfortable leather seats. You just sink into them, and they of course are power here in the front. Power up, down, back, left, right, lumbar support is power as well. And then the really nice finishing just continues throughout this interior. I mean, the dashboard is really nicely wrapped. You have the stitching in there. I mean, it's very, very premium feeling. And then of course there is a driver's side grab handle. I used to do the driver's side grab handle test. This does pass that with flying colors. And then up here you do have your, ooh, that's pretty dark. There we go. You do have your controls for the power sliding rear window. And then you also do have your controls for the sunroof on this thing. So this does have that option as well. Pretty much every option box ticked that you can have on this new Silverado. Disappointing there's no panoramic sunroof up here, but it is still really nice to have one at all. I think the only thing that this doesn't have that I'm thinking like a high country would have is the fully digital rear view mirror. This one does not have that. It may be an option you can check on these. I know on different more luxury focused Silverados you can, but it's not here on this particular one. But let's take a quick look at the back seats, and then we'll get this thing out on the road for a drive. Moving into the back seats, some premium luxury cars have legroom for days. This Silverado has legroom for years. I mean, this thing has so much space, so much headroom right here. You could probably fit half a Subway sandwich in between me and the roof line on this truck. And that's incredible. So if you're carrying taller people back here on longer road trips, that won't be super difficult. And then if we move down here, you'll have heated seats for the rear, which is really nice. USB and USB-C, as well as climate vents and 2 cup holders. And then you do have the ability to fold down this armrest for more cup holders, and of course a Fiji water bottle cup holder as well. They're really thinking about everyone. And then you do have even more storage inside the seats right there. Sorry about that glare, but even more storage in there. And then one more thing, you can lift this up for under the seat storage. I gotta give it to Chevy. This might be the most practical rear seats of any truck on the market right now. All right, driving the ZR2. This is the big 6.2 liter engine, and we're gonna open it up just a little bit here. Aw, listen to that thing purr. It does respond very quickly. And one other thing that I really like about this truck is, even though it's gigantic and it's just a huge truck, it doesn't really feel like it's hard to drive. It's not boaty like some other vehicles I've driven, F-250, stuff like that. That's really boaty, and even some of the 2500 Silverados. But this still feels very manageable, very smooth on the road. Even with all the off-road tuned suspension, it still feels like you have very good control of it, and it's a smooth ride. Acceleration up the hill here is really nice, and I mean, who doesn't want to hear that engine? I mean, it's incredible, very finely tested and proven Chevrolet engine, and the seat comfort is really nice, and where I'm sitting at right now, visibility-wise, where I've adjusted my seat, I think the front visibility just gives you such a commanding view, and I definitely think that it gives the Raptor and the TRX a run for the money, especially on the interior comfort. It definitely has stepped up its game. General Motors has done an excellent job of refining this interior, and this ride quality, oh, drats, and the ride quality's smooth. All right, guys, that's going to conclude my review of this ZR2. But before I go, I'd like to mention that I am a Christian, and if you need prayer for anything, I would love to be able to pray for you guys. So you could leave that in the comment section down below. And I like to leave off with a weekly scripture verse. Today's is Romans 8:37. No, in all these things we are more than conquerors through him who loved us. All right, guys, take care.